exactly, because it was simply an inside situation. Must have been an inside situation.
So they actually said they're not really going to carry on with the
Yeah.
investigation.
Yeah, that's what Sun News said.
That's unheard of, man. Really.
Yeah.
What happened to innocent until proven guilty?
And another thing too, the man's a sir. So I mean, if you're gonna kill a sir, which is a member of the parliament, shit, motherfucker, you better look into that case, because that man is of high value. That's a high valued individual of society. If he's a sir, if someone does that to a sir, that case is supposed to be looked into deeply.
Right.
So that in itself, like, you know, alarm bells should ring in your ears and be like, wait a minute, something ain't right with that situation.
Right.
Go on, brother.
Right, so it says the MP for South and West was stabbed at Belfast Methodist Church in Leigh-on-Sea in Essex.
Yeah.
He was there for one of his regular Friday meetings with his constituents.
And like I said, what Somalian do you know is in Leigh-on-Sea? How is he gonna know? I don't even, and people that are actually in Leigh-on-Sea, that grew up and was raised in Leigh-on-Sea, they don't even know what a fucking Somalian looks like. They haven't even heard one speak in their life.
Yeah.
So what they're doing is they know who did it, right? But they're gonna say, oh, well, this guy did it, that guy did it. That's what this whole thing is about. And when you really think about it, this society that we're under, or should I say the government, which is what we're under, is a rogue government. It does whatever the hell it wants to do.
Yeah.
It doesn't go by the guides and principles of the Heavenly Father. They're just going about it their own way. They got plans and agendas to unleash. Shalom, brother. You know? They got plans and agendas that people haven't even actually thought about and voting in, that they're doing. So they're already moving according to their own way. They're a rogue system. So this rogue system that we're under, this government, is doing whatever the fuck it wants to do, man. And this is a case right here.
Yep.
As I believe, personally.
It says, just 15 minutes before the attack, the 69-year-old was standing on the church steps, chatting and laughing with locals.
So how are you going to stab somebody inside the church, man? And the man's
on the steps.
On the steps. Who does that? What regular dude, what regular Jake, or even a regular base cracker is going to do that? Why would someone do something like that? They set someone to kill that dude, man.
You know what it is, right? When things occur naturally, it's simple. But because it's planned, they over-elaborate and they don't really understand.
Right.
People always do that.
Yeah.
When
Embellish a story.
Yeah, you over-embellish, over-elaborate, you know, so they play up more and more to try and convince people. But if you just did it the simplest way, there'll be less questions to be asked.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like Guardian News was even dealing with Boris Johnson, the interviewer for Guardian News. He kept on speaking to Boris about, you know, the case that occurred. And Boris was like, oh, well, we just going to have to let... And you could tell he was nervous. He was all perplexed. He was all bugged out. You could see it a little bit. He was sniffing. The immune system's kind of down. Because you know when you're nervous, right, your immune system kind of stifles. And you start sniffing and all of that. That's one thing I noticed when people are afraid. But he kept on saying to the guy that, oh, well, thank you, sir. He said it twice. He was talking a little bit about it because he had no choice. Because he's in front of the world, you know, so he has to talk about it and answer these questions. But he didn't really want to deal with the case lengthily wise, so he kept on saying, well, we just gonna have, well, thank you, sir. That's all I got. Like that's all because that's all he had to really say. Or the police is gonna deal with it. The police is gonna deal with it, and he said it twice. Because in all reality, the police ain't gonna deal with it. It's just gonna be another incident that occurred that's gonna be wiped away like it never happened. Just like what happened to Joe Cox. This woman, no, she was another MP, and she was killed 5 years ago.
Yeah, I remember that little one, that story.
And they said that she was shot, and shot, and as well as she was stabbed at the same time. Now, what motherfucker's gonna shoot another individual in the head, or shoot a couple of times this MP, and at the same time stab the MP? Come on,
That's a hitman, man.
That's a hitman.
Yeah.
So it says, she was a bit outspoken. She was coming out with she was kind of, from what I remember, she was quite outspoken about certain things.
Shut her mouth.
Yeah. And it's the same thing what they did to my man Amos. They got somebody, paid somebody off, or sent somebody in, or probably could have been one of the police officers, the member of the police, that they told, look, this is what you're going to do. You're going to get this guy here.
Yeah.
Go on, brother.
So it says that at around 12:05 BST on Friday, Sir David walked into the church alongside two female members of his staff to meet some more constituents.
And you got people out here, it's like like this brother, he went to the shop to get me some water, and I was standing outside, and I'm looking at this old white woman, and she's looking all scared and nervous. So I said under my breath, people are real simple, man. People are really, really simple. People are looking scared and looking and see, what's he gonna do? Why is
She been watching BBC News.
Yeah. And that's another thing too. People watch too much TV, and they believe in what TV's telling them, and that's why their fucking asses got the fucking jab and all messed up because of it.
Yeah.
Which is good for their ass anyway. Going on.
Right.
So it says local councillor John Lamb said that it was then that the attacker emerged. So he just materialised out of thin air, right? The attacker emerged from a small group of waiting constituents and attacked Sir David, stabbing him several times.
Stabbing him several times, man. Come on, man. How is somebody gonna go into that man's constituents and inside of a church and stab the man up? That don't even make sense.
And
Who's this guy? And they haven't even found out who this guy was. Okay, he's of Somali origin. Where does this guy? Where does he stay in Leon the Sea? If I'm saying it name, if I'm saying it correctly. Sometimes I say lie.
Yeah.
But I don't know it because I'm an American,
Yeah,
so
I think it's Leon C.
Leon C. So I mean, they haven't even found the location of where this guy lives in. Like, we live in the most technological age possible, where we got cameras all over the place. And I know London is more surveillance, but I'm pretty sure over there is somewhat surveillance as well.
Yeah.
To a certain level of degree. So if somebody's gonna commit murder, shit, it's got to be known about, man.
Okay, so if he isn't staying on Leon C, he must have come in on a train or something, right?
Yeah.
What train station did he come out of? Or where did he park his car? All these questions could be answered, but they're not going to do that.
One, brother.
So it says, I am told that when he went in for his surgery, I don't know why they call this shit a surgery anyway, because it's a doctor. There were people waiting to see him, and one of them literally got a knife out and just began stabbing him, Mr. Lamb said.
Right. And I mean, like I said, I'm pretty doggone sure that they had a camera in there.
Yeah.
But they're not going to report who it is, because if they do probably report who it is, it's probably someone inside of this group that actually done him in the first place.
Well, you remember the churches say, come as you are, innit? So,
Yeah.
Right. Probably was an agent sent to kill
some
this
agent,
dude.
come as you are, brother.
And they just going to say, well, because they don't know because they do know who did it, but they don't want to display it out there to the public, they're just going to just pick and choose. What matter of race could we pick and choose from to say that who did it?
If I may say something briefly, just like when they shot JFK,
Hey, bro,
right?
I like when you come in right softly. Can I just say something?
Well, it's lucky I don't want to interject too much, but
Go.
right, when they killed JFK, right? It was a public thing. They did that to send a message to anybody else who's going to come against our agenda. That's going to be your fate, right? That's why a lot of these people are scared and they follow the line.
Okay.
When Boris Johnson, you said you saw him on the news, he was all flustered, right?
Yes, he was.
I believe this was an inside job, which is why they're sending out this message. Look, if you ain't down with our agenda, that could be you next.
Yep.
Right? So it's sending out a message. It's sending out a message of fear to like the elderly Edomite lady who's there clutching her purse when she sees you.
Right.
It's also sending out a message to members of their secret society that, look, man, either play ball or your ass is gone.
And just to add on to what you're saying even more so as well, because I was also, and to add on to what I was even saying as well about Boris looking fearful, even Sadiq Khan looked fearful too. His eyes is all blotched out and he just looked like very unstable, uncomfortable. You could see it as they're giving their talk and being interviewed and that. So that's what this situation is, like you said, brother. It's more of a case of, look, if you're not with us and we give you a certain ranking above and beyond this secret brotherhood, you better play ball, because the higher you go, the more careful you better be of your words, because we can clip you, and that's exactly what that, like you said, brother.
And blame it on the niggers.
And blame it on the niggas, exactly. Going out.
It says police arrived at the scene in Eastwood Road North within minutes, where they found the MP with multiple injuries and arrested a man. We knew it must be very serious because the paramedics have been working on Sir David for over 2.5 hours, and they hadn't got him on the way to the hospital. How are you going to have a stab wound on the floor for 2.5 hours before going to hospital? That don't even make sense. How much can you do on the floor with your basic ambulance first aid? So okay, so he's on the floor for 2.5 hours. He died. Oh, what a surprise!
Right.
At 14:13, an air ambulance arrived at a nearby sports ground to move him to hospital. However, Members of his team began to fare the worst as paramedics remained at the scene. Shortly before 1500, Essex police said that Sir David had died.
And like I said, there's not much of any Negroes that are living in. So even if they wanted to blame it on some Negro that was in Essex, who they supposedly found. Again, I mean, if you look at Essex and exactly where in Essex, Lee on the Sea, it's a very small town. It's a very small town, so much so that even the pavements are very narrow and even the roads are very narrow. And it's all full of so-called white people, Edomites, that's dwelling in there. So if a so-called nigger was going to do something like that, they should have already been found his ass and showcase his face and everything.
Yeah.
Being that it's a very small town. Come on, man. That's why you can't believe in everything that Esau tells you, because Esau, well, we already know. The majority of the people don't know. All right? And even, well, I'll even go as far as saying even other so-called white people, they don't even know how sadistic and evil and rogue their government is anyway, to begin with. So they just believe in whatever comes out of their mouths. And they pretty much get contorted because of what they were told what to do. Especially with these yaps, as Apostle Hall says, you know.
At a press conference later, Chief Constable B.J. Harrington said officers and paramedics had worked extremely hard to save the MP.
Yes, so with that, if you can, give me Proverbs
14.
Oh, it's 14, okay. Going up.
Proverbs 14 and 15. It says, the simple believeth every word, but the prudent man looketh well into his going.
Yeah, the prudent man is more circumspect. And that's what I was doing. I was researching this case because I was triggered by it. And I was like, I wonder who could have did this. So I did my little research and I found out, okay, they said he died in Lee on the Sea. So I looked at Lee on the Sea and I'm thinking to myself, what dark-skinned person could have actually lived in the city to have done something to a man like that, right? And it looks to me, it's one of those places where you go to, and it's nothing more than so-called white people. It's more populated with them in it.
Yeah.
So how could and even like me and my mother, we was talking about it, and she was even saying even some people that's of Somali origin, they don't really do no shit like that. And like those people of Somalian of origin, they're quiet. They actually stick to themselves. They don't really they're not all around out there like how Jacobs. You get what I'm saying? Like we don't even hardly even see these people. They're in their own little special place where they dwell at, and they mind their own business. So for a man to just go out there and enter into the man's, you know what, in his yard and stab up the man, that doesn't make any sense. There's a reason to everything.
What terrorist agenda do they have? What terrorist agenda does Somalia
exactly.
have?
I mean, with that being the case, they should be able to find what was his agenda.
Yeah.
Take him to the court systems and interrogate him. Excuse me, my words are bluffering. Interrogate the man so that he can say what the agenda was. Because they usually are able to find the agenda, so you find out the agenda and then you display it on the news. But they couldn't even find the agenda. So it's all bullshit, man. It's all hogwash, this situation. Right. It's an inside situation that happened. Go on, brother.
I'll read on it. It says, who is the suspect? At 1350
exactly.
Friday.
Who is the suspect? They should already have found out the intel of who the suspect is.
And what the motive was.
Exactly.
Right. At 1350 on Friday, what are these people being paid for really in this police? At 1350 on Friday, Essex police confirmed the 25-year-old man had been arrested immediately at the scene on suspicion of murder and that a knife had been recovered. Government sources have told...
So wait a minute, if the knife's been recovered, don't they have the ability to find out the fingerprints?
Can't.
Find the fingerprints of the man that stabbed that man?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Right. It says, government sources have told the BBC he is a UK national who, from initial inquiries, appears to be of Somali heritage. They say the suspect was not on their database of subjects of interest. According to the BBC security correspondent Frank Gardner, the suspect is in custody at Essex Police Station, and officers have said they are not looking for anyone else.
Right, they're not looking for anybody else. So they as they should. They killed a sir, so they should be looking for somebody else. But But again, we have to wonder why. Why is it that they're not looking for anybody else? Because it was highly likely, as I beg to believe, that it was a psychological operation, man. to strike fear of those that are in the inside world to actually, stay in line, man. Don't go off with your words. Don't go off with your own agendas. When we allow you in our world, you better play ball game. Because if you don't play ball game, then we're going to clip you, just like this individual here.
Yeah, man, because look, the term terrorism, they've broadened it so much now that an act of terror, it's just an act of terror. So it doesn't have to be tied to any particular self.
Shalom on, brother.
It has to be tied to any particular cell, particular group or faction, you know. It can just be one man. Now, realistically, if you're looking for a terrorist group, if you're claiming it's terrorism, then this man must have idealism, some sort of agenda to push, and that, you know, no one sits at home and does that by themselves.
No.
You know, they're influenced. So where's his influence from? You know, who's behind it? Like, who is he with?
That's another good point. They haven't even found intel on that. So I mean, this whole case, it's clear to say, man, from where we're standing, that this situation that occurred, it was an inside one at that, man. And you know what they did, like you were saying, brother, is to make people aware that there's a thing such as terrorism, and people have different groups, and these groups are influencing other groups of people, to commit terrorist acts. So what you're really doing is what they're doing is they're killing, 3 birds with one stone. Because if you can say that out there in the media, now they will be given the motive to heighten their security levels, because they know people are going to go out there and start tearing down the place and turn down the street, right? And if possible, going out to these different MPs and put them out of their misery. So they got to secure that aspect of it, and then at the same time,
That's very clever.
At the same time, they're also sending a message to the insiders that, look, you could be also a sacrificial lamb if you don't play ball game as well. Because in that world, that's what they do. They get certain people, they find certain people who they can sacrifice for a better cause. There's a book on it too. There's books on it.
Hey boys.
How you doing?
How you doing?
They used to have a wee Saturday night gathering up at the Valley Health Pond.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if they do still.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they do.
No, I'm not sure.
No, we don't know. We don't know. Sorry.
If you're going that way,
Okay.
it's in the pond over there, the Valley Health.
All right,
Okay.
man.
It's like,
Now, we're not sure.
if they're having it, it's all music, you can hear it,
Okay, yeah.
Thank you. Oh, I can hear it. Yeah.
No, it's quite strange, this actually. It's in the last temperate nights of summer, autumn.
Yeah.
Don't even be winter soon. Lovely stuff.
Yeah.
Have a nice one, boys.
You as well, man.
You too, take care.
Take care.
Thank you.
Right, reading on, it says, the attack has been declared a terrorist incident by the police. But early investigations revealed a potential motivation linked to Islamist extremism.
Now they're saying it's linked to Islamic extremism. So again, it's to heighten that fear, keep people in a state of fear, and also keep the people that are inside of that world in a state of fear, not to mess up. But it all involves, this is what I believe, it all involves heightening their level of security, because they know that eventually people are going to go mad at their government. People are going to go postal. So before that even goes down, let's secure ourselves in the process. That's what this is. It's got to be that. What else could it be?
Yeah. It says,
So could I just say, just trying to think of it, it's like, because these people should really be targets, man. Imagine how angry a lot of these people are having to listen to Boris Johnson and the likes of them, telling them they got to do this, that and the other. They must take this, they must take another one, they must get their boots on. Now, people are, if I was Boris Johnson,
I think I know where you're going with this.
I'd be worried because, they're targets.
they're the ones
that are saying it, and they're the ones put out in the forefront. They're not in control, man. But the puppets, like that saying, "Don't shoot the messenger, man." People want to shoot them because they're the messengers, man. People want to shoot them.
and also these people don't perceive that there's anybody higher than them, so they think it's their agenda.
It's all them. They don't understand that there's that shadow government out there, man. These elites.
Because what you have men that's in the outside world that are leaders, like these puppets that we have to listen to and all of that. But you have men behind closed doors, men behind the curtains pulling the strings. And they're basically the puppets that's being told what to do. So they have to protect themselves in the process. Go on now.
Right. The force says it is believed that the man acted alone. The police says that the force says it believes that the man acted alone, but inquiries are continuing. Speaking during the visit to the Saturday, the Home Secretary, Preeti Patel, said the killing was absolutely wrong.
And she looked nervous too.
Yeah.
The way she did her lips. 'Cause she does her lip a certain way. Like when she's afraid. Oh my God.
She said the killing was absolutely wrong, and we cannot let that get in the way of our functioning democracy.
God.
What's an interesting thing to say? That's a heavy sentence.
Right.
Let me say that again. The killing was absolutely wrong, and we cannot let that get in the way of our functioning democracy.
So you know where that's going. It's cause a problem and then bring in the solution, because you have people out here that have different agendas and plans.
Order out of chaos, isn't it?
Right, order out of chaos. So now what we got to do is, because we've seen different cases of people blowing up buildings and doing all kinds of psychological operations, which is what they've caused. And then therefore we can just pretty much take all of the power from the people, which is what we've given them in the first place, and pretty much get all of that power back onto us. And that's what this New World Order system is all about, pretty much. Which we're already in the New World Order system, but they gotta put things in place. You know, so we can if they can keep on with these psychological operations, after psychological operation, then they have cases of these psychological operations, and then they can blame it on people that, look, you don't deserve your freedoms and your rights, because when you did have your freedoms and your rights, this is what y'all were doing. So now we're going to gravitate all of the power that you have, that we've given you, back to us. And this is why it's going to come down to the time where they're going to pretty much coerce people once again to take the MOTB. Otherwise, if you don't take the MOTB, then there's a highly likely possibility that you could be a renegade. You could be an enemy combatant to the state or the society. That's where this shit could actually wind up to, man. Or some other shit that they may pull off. Excuse me. Go on, brother.
What kind of inquiries will be underway? Detectives in the security service MI5 will be delving deeply into the life of the suspect to understand how he reached his mindset. The BBC Home and legal correspondent Dominic Casarini says,
You know what, too, brother? That's all we got to go into. Let's get some scriptures. Read that scripture again, and look up that word prudent. Because if you can also do these psychological operations and get people in a state of fear and to agree with what is being said on TV, then again, you can move forward with your agendas. And I'm talking about them to be exact.
So
they can move with their agendas.
So lucky, I just saw this picture. These guys look like they're walking on eggshells, man.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Because they must know.
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
Yeah, but they got to keep with the narrative, man. So they want to make sure when they're speaking as well, in their back of their minds, they're thinking, I've got to make sure. Them Freudian slips, man, they occur when you least want to expect them, when you least want them to occur. Hence the reason why they're called Freudian slips. You know, so they got to stand up and make sure that they stick to the narrative, man.
Look at their faces. They look scared, man.
They're shitting themselves, especially that Keir Starmer there, man.
Yeah, Keir Starmer. Because he's what is it? He's a member of the parliament too. He's a big speaker. They're promoting him big.
So-called opposition, isn't it?
Yeah.
Control.
Right, Proverbs 14 and 15, it says, the simple believeth every word.
Yeah, the simple believeth every word. So I mean, a lot of people have TVs in their houses, 4K TVs, where you can see the dot on the man's face, right, while he's talking. Or a pimple somewhere getting ready to burst. Right? And they're watching this constantly for let's just say a good hour or two. And they're getting seduced into the lies which is being told. You know? Without doing no research. Let me literally find out myself what actually happened. Now, you got people out there that are digging in and finding out what really went down. But the majority of the public, they ain't doing that. They're just taking the government's word for it, just like how they took the government's word for it of taking the you-know-what. And now they're all messed up. Go on,
It says, the simple believeth every word, but the prudent man looketh well to his going.
But the prudent man looketh well to his goings. Look up that word prudent. Because people are simple. The average person out here is a simpleton. Is a simpleton at best.
That's right. and if I may say, that goes back to the fear thing. That's one of the first basic emotions. Like when you're a baby, what do you have? Fear and laughter. So these grown-ass people, and they haven't really mastered the full range of their emotions. So therefore, that's why they're so easily swayed. Like, oh, it's like when they see something bright and shiny, oh, happy, happy. And then when they're scared, oh, I'm scared. Those are the two most basic extremes. That's all Esau needs to pull to get these puppets
That's a good
moving.
point, because before you initiate that fear, you might want to establish the situation. Fear might not even be necessary response or happiness, you know. People jump, like the brother was saying, they're quick to use these simple emotions. But if you were prudent, right, and we'll read it, so prudent, right, says Arun, and it says subtle, shrewd, crafty, sly, and sensible.
That's it, right?
Yeah, it just repeats those words once more. So yeah.
But when you are prudent, you are quite shrewd. You know, you don't just do things just off of the backs of your emotions. You're very calculated.
Calm.
But at the same time, what I was aiming at is people that are circumspect look into things. They're circumspect. They don't just go with somebody's word and that's it. That's the finality of it all. No, they do their research and they find out what was going on.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I found out, okay, they said he died in such and such, so I'm going to look at the environment and see what really went down. And what I find out is that the environment that he died in or got stabbed in is full of so-called whites. So how could a Somalian done such a thing? Because if he would have do such a thing, they would have spotted him already, like a sore thumb. And the cameras would have been on his ass watching him.
I've got prudent in the etymology.
Okay.
So it says knowing, skilled, sagacious, and it says circumspect.
Exactly. That's what I was looking
Foreseeing.
for. Yeah. Going on.
Look ahead, prepare, act with foresight. So,
Yeah, act of foresight, meaning you know something's coming down the pipe. Like us, we know that eventually America's going to be destroyed. We know that eventually World War III is going to happen, which will be the exact thing to destroy America, and as well as down here in the UK will be destroyed. And we also know what the government's plans are due to the prophecies. So we've read the prophecies, we read the Bible, which is the book of life, and now we understand life in totality, what's going to happen in this life exactly. So we're actually prudent. That makes us very prudent because we're able to see before something already happens. And that's why we don't really look at the politicians as men of great status and power, because there's a power that we look up to.
Yeah.
And it's way above these politicians and even those, including the shadow government. You know, so we know this world. We know what this world is all about before we've even turned 80. before we even got old. Go on, brother.
If I may. Go on.
All right, this is Isaiah chapter 60, verse 2. For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth,
Yeah.
and gross darkness the people.
And gross darkness the people. So people are under the influence of lies and deception. This is why the average person is very simple. They'll watch something and hear their politicians say something or their teachers say something and take it as the word of life, when in fact it could be a lie. Okay? And you got a reasonable amount of people that don't even understand sarcasm as well. Sarcasm, excuse me. So they take that person seriously, but he's actually joking. You know, so this is the thing, man. And another thing too that people don't understand about, like I said before, about this power that we're under. It's a rogue power. It was rogue when they cut my man's head off, like I always make mention of now.
Charles I.
Charles I. The minute they cut the man's head off, which he was the king of England, which was a so-called black man, by the way, it was an illegal entity. And this brother knows about the history, you know? So ever since January the 30th, 1649, we've been under a rogue government, under the parliamentarians. Okay?
That's right.
So if it's a rogue government, if it became a rogue government due to how they got into the power seat, then it's going to be rogue all the way to the very end. Go on, brother.
I got one more piece.
Yeah, please.
All right, this is Proverbs chapter 1, verse 7. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge,
Yeah.
but fools despise wisdom and instruction.
But fools despise wisdom and instruction. So we're coming with the real wisdom, which is going to save souls. Like the scripture says that these men, I'm roughly paraphrasing the scripture, have become wise unto their salvation. How did we become wise unto our salvation? Because it was through the spirit and power of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi that allowed us to hearken to the men that had the true wisdom and understanding, which is going to allow us to be saved.
That's right.
But the people, our people in general, they're not hearkening. They're not hearkening to this counsel right here. So therefore, they're going to believe in something else, which will lead them down in the dirt real soon. And that's the powers. Because the powers that are today, they're going to be destroyed, which are the sons of perdition, and they will become likened unto the sons of perdition, which in order for them to become like the sons of perdition, they're going to take that chip. They're going to take the mark. And when you look up that word image, the word image is from the Greek icon, which means likeness. So our people, they're going to take that mark and they're going to be likened unto the sons of perdition, and they're going to receive the same judgment as the sons of perdition because they refused the counsel of the Lord. And that's going to be their end result, pretty much. You know?
That's right.
Go on, brother, because you got to believe in something. If you don't believe in the word of the Lord, then you believe in this satanic system and the people that control it. Go on, brother.
So I got one more piece.
Yeah, go on.
All right. This is Psalm 64, verse 1. Hear my voice, O Lord, and in my prayer, preserve my life from fear of the enemy.
Yeah.
Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked,
Come on.
from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity.
And that's what we do know. Prophecy tells us in the book of 2nd Ezra 16 that a great insurrection shall come upon those that fear the Lord. And we're hoping that the Lord will protect us in that time. Some of us are going to be taken because we're going to have to pay. We're going to have to pave the way for prophecy to happen in Revelation the 20th chapter, where some of us are going to get our heads chopped off. So some of us will have to be taken under that. However, the majority of us, I believe, a good reasonable amount of us will be saved from that because we're holding on daily to the word. So if we hold daily onto the word, then the Lord will hold us back from the terrible time.